This is Yasukuni Shrine. Those who fell in Japan's wars from the Boshin War onward are interred here. This includes 1,068 convicted war criminals, 14 of which were Class A war criminals indicted for planning and directing Japan's brutal war effort during the Second World War. Shortly before his assassination in July 2022, former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe paid his respects at the shrine. The shrine has been a gathering space for Japanese right-wing extremists too. The ghosts of Japan's past still hold substantial influence over Japan's future. This particular militaristic brand of Japanese nationalism did not just spontaneously arise. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan, just like Ming China, pursued a foreign policy of isolationism and stringent restrictions on foreign influences. European colonizers and the Christianity they brought with them could not gain a foothold in Japan. This resistance to foreign intrusion would remain an integral part of Japanese nationalism even after the Meiji Restoration of 1868. Toward the start of the 20th century, criminal organizations would enter into an unholy alliance with Japanese ultranationalists. The man who orchestrated this alliance was a Japanese godfather named Toyama Mitsuru. Toyama Mitsuru was born to a poor samurai family and made his living as a career criminal. He formed a right-wing terrorist group called Genyosha in 1881. Genyosha exercised considerable sway over the Japanese military's officer corps and in the civilian bureaucracy. They would engage in a reign of terror over the next few years, even going as far as killing the Korean Queen in 1895. Successor groups would come about in later years, waging terror campaigns and carrying out assassinations. Following the end of World War II, the American occupation forces in Japan decided to work with these gangster nationalists. The Americans gave these gangsters carte blanche to operate as they pleased in the name of fighting communist subversion. One man in particular, Yoshio Kodama, played an influential role in the formation and funding of Japan's ruling party, the Liberal Democratic Party. In Japan today, the far right has an extremely powerful presence. One of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's aims was to revise the Japanese constitution in order to reverse the nation's post-World War II pacifist tradition. In fact, nearly all of Shinzo Abe's cabinet were at one point members of the Nippon Kaigi, the largest far-right group in Japan. Shinzo Abe himself served as a special advisor for Nippon Kaigi and even implemented some of their policy aims such as constitutional revision, the censoring of school textbooks, and the expansion of the military. The Japanese far right has made waves outside of Japan as well. During his time in office, Shinzo Abe repeatedly denied Japanese atrocities in Korea and China, straining Japan's relationships with those countries. Japan moved in the opposite direction of Germany after World War II, not only by refusing to acknowledge the war crimes committed against civilian populations all over Asia, but also by glorifying the regime that committed those crimes and alienating her democratic neighbors. Ultranationalism, unsurprisingly, is an important part of Japanese immigration policy. In 2017, 19,000 people applied for asylum in Japan. Only 20 people were admitted. Following the Second World War, ethnic Koreans residing in Japan were targeted and harassed by Japanese police officers. In 2021, a 33-year-old Sri Lankan woman was detained by Japanese immigration authorities for overstaying her student visa. She developed a stress-related stomach condition and died in police custody after the authorities denied her treatment. For a country with an aging population that is expected to contract by 2065, restrictive and xenophobic immigration policies are self-destructive. The Japanese managed to restrict European colonization for centuries by curtailing the power of foreigners. In the end, Japan would become a colonizer in her own right. Japan had the option of moving away from its sordid past, but chose to embrace it. While lauded by a number of world leaders, Shinzo Abe's close relationship with right-wing extremists will always taint his legacy. Still, even after his death, his party managed to win a supermajority in the upper house of the Japanese legislature, enabling them to revise the constitution. The rebirth of a militaristic Japan could have earth-shattering consequences. What do you guys think? How would Japan's relations with their neighbors change if the constitution was revised? How would the US approach its relationship with Japan if this were to happen? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.